So what's the Dark Angels? Aha! Good. Because let me tell you something. We can talk Dark Angels all day long. Where do we start? Best Marine chapter. Number 1. Numero uno. First Legion ever made. Coming at you straight from the Emperor. He created them from him to you to save the universe. That's right. The Dark Angels. They're best at all of it. They're the most tactical. They're the strongest Legion. Deathwing. And they are the fastest with the Raven Wing. Before you know it, that's it. You're done. So, where did the Dark Angels come from? Well, the Emperor, they are the first primordial gene seed. The first experiments that were going on, they were the first to actually truly succeed for what the Emperor was trying to accomplish, right? And then, so in doing so, upon their creation, they had to go back and erase all his mistakes, you know? And erased them. So that's a part of the inner circle. That's a part of the lore. We'll get into that. So, Dark Angels were going around as the first Legion. First chapter. That's right. I don't know if I've said that enough times. For those of you that don't understand, numero uno, number 1, baby. So, they're rolling through the universe, doing all the Emperor's dirty work, and when the Emperor had created and sent out his Primarchs, right? The one that landed on Caliban and developed Caliban, grew. That's I could do a whole lore video about Lionel Johnson too, is Lionel Johnson. The best Primarch of all the Primarchs. How do you know he's the best Primarch of all the Primarchs? Let me tell you why. Because when he was finally found and brought to the Emperor, right? The Emperor said, hey, look at you. You're the best Primarch. Why don't I put you with the best First Legion? Right? 1-on-1 goes together. So that's what you got. The best Primarch with the best Legion, Dark Angels. So Lionel Johnson's leading the Dark Angels. They're going on a crusade through the universe, just handing out L's to everybody. Scooping up nothing but wins. Nothing but W's for the Imperium, because that's what they do. They just kick straight ass all day long. And Horus, right? So the Lion was actually proposed to be War Master, turned it down. He's more of a I let my work speak for itself guy. He didn't want the politics back then. He just wanted to just straight slay ass all day. That's all he wanted to do. All day. Just pounding a Xeno. Pound, 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 pound. Pound Xenos all day long till there's nothing left so that the Imperium can flourish and that he can defend mankind, right? Horus, the Horus heresy happened. He betrays the Emperor in the 30,000 millennium, and upon doing so, which is a whole nother lore video and a bunch more lore that we can get into, long story short, the betrayal happens. The Lion is sent on some bogus missions because Horus is scared of the Dark Angel. So he sends them on these bogus missions way out in nowhere. When they finally take care of all that, right, they turn around, they come back to Caliban to find that he's been betrayed by Luther, which, again, it's more lore. I'm just doing a summary, a quick shot of all the lore. Luther betrays him, and when he comes into orbit, Caliban fires on the Lion. The Lion descends to Caliban immediately. This was a much younger and more aggressive Lion, right? So shoot first, ask questions later type cat. The Dark Angels come down and ascend on their brothers, right? So Dark Angels are fighting Dark Angels in the middle of the Horus Heresy, correct? Or towards the end. It's towards the after the end of Horus Heresy. So everything falls apart. Caliban's ripped asunder. A lot of people are thrown into the warp, right? And for the next 10,000 years, the Dark Angels they hide this secret. They're referred to as the Unforgiven. They are led by Azrael, who is their chapter master. And then each wing has its own chapter master. You got the Death Wing led by Belial, and you have the Raven Wing led by Samael, the Green Wing, the regular tactical infantry, just Dark Angel Wing is ran by Azrael. Lazarus runs the 3rd company. And then you got all the chaplains. You got Asmodee, the chaplain of chaplains. He's like, Asmodee is that super hardcore Catholic preacher that's real hard about the rules, right? Like, I think once he punished a whole bunch of Dark Angels for cracking a joke while descending onto a planet. Like, he's that guy, very serious. And the reason why is because the Dark Angels, they felt like they always had this sense of atonement, that they always had to atone for their fallen ways on Caliban, right? So they go around hunting the fallen Dark Angels. They go around hunting them immediately to kill them so that the secret of what happened on Caliban doesn't get out. And the reason why is because it's a knightly order. They are knightly space marines. Their honor means everything to them. So when the honor was tarnished, right, then they have to do everything they can to uphold that armor. It's where it gets blurry. It's where things get weird, right? So the Dark Angels, they've always thought very highly of themselves. Best Space Marine chapter ever, like I said, number one. They know they're number one. But when they get assistance from Ultramarines and Blood Angels, they accept their assistance reluctantly, but then are quick to like turn their back again on them because they don't. It's a pride thing. They're a very prideful chapter, right? And that's not just with those two Space Marine chapters. I mean, it's really how they treat all of them. So when you're the best of the best and you're on top, you know, sometimes it's really hard to accept that you don't need help with things sometimes, right? So that's the Dark Angels. That's their secrets. Their secrets go with all their missions and things that they have done that could be detrimental to the Imperium. Their secrets are so deep and vast because they have actually like destroyed the most monstrous of invasions against Orc Wogs and Chaos. Okay, so let's get up to date with current Dark Angels lore. Now, Abaddon got the Soul Forge, and he had an artifact bring the Soul Forge into person, and now you have Vashnor, right? That's it in the lore. He had him build a bunch of ships, warships, and that's when they introduced boarding actions. He was boarding all these vessels. He went around gathering all these artifacts so, you know, he can continue his Black Crusade of burning the galaxy. Now, their final one that they needed was on the Rock. That's where Dark Angels come in, obviously, you know, because we rock on the Rock all day. Number one. I think I've said that already. So, Dark Angels are partying on the Rock, right? They're doing their Dark Angel thing. Can't talk about it. And Vashnor shows up, and they siege the Rock, and there's a big fight, big battle going on, and the Dark Angels are actually losing ground on their home field. It doesn't look good, and the Ultramarines show up to help them out. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Be'lakor comes in with a chair, smashes Vashnor, right? Kicks his ass. He's like, "Hey, only one of us can rise to godhood here, you know?" And Be'lakor's like, "It's not gonna be you, dude." So with that happening, Vashnor has to retreat. He leaves, right? But the Dark Angels gathered some Fallen, some Chaos. They're doing the thing that they love doing the most, which is torturing traitors and heretics, giving them the real good burner up the rear end to get their information out. Well, Azrael gets the information. So Azrael gets the information, and they head to that sector of the galaxy that Abaddon is in. And when they get there, a big battle ensues. Dark Angels, I think Azrael gathered up some other chapters and of Dark Angels. And they went over there to siege Abaddon and Vashnor and take the fight to them. When doing so, there was obviously a trap. Angron is summoned. It's Black Legion, World Eaters, Vashnor, and a bunch of soul-grinding demons, right? All versus Dark Angels. When things look bleak and Dark Angels are losing, that's when Blood Angels show up, and they have the Lion with them. Shocker that the Blood Angels show up with the Primarch of the Dark Angels, right? But that's all in the Sons of the Lion book. Great book. Highly recommend you read it. I really like what they're doing with bringing the Lion back, the way they brought the Primarch of the Dark Angels back. I should do another video on that. And they save Azrael. They pulled Belial out, who I believe was wounded. Dante gets backhanded by Angron. I mean, everybody's just getting absolutely mollywopped. And then through the Forest Walk ability comes the Lion, right? And he banishes Angron. And while all that's going on, Vashnor actually gets onto the rock. All he has to do is talk to the artifact that he's looking for. He has this way of communicating with artifacts and machinery. It agrees to go with Vashnor. So Vashnor takes it. And then that was the final key that they needed for their plan. And with it, they start their kind of like a warp engine, I guess. But the whole planet, Caliban, is now turned into Wormwood. That's what Vashnor calls it. And it is like a mobile planet operating base thing. It's like the Death Star, but for 40K's Chaos. They now have this awesome Dark Mechanicus Demon Soul Forge planet. It's not looking good. That's kind of a problem. But the Chaos player in me is like, wow, that's sweet. You know? But the Imperium player in me is like, that's an issue. The Dark Angel in me is like, that's straight heresy and BS. They took Caliban and made it into a Chaos planet. Like, that's crap, right? But we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm dying to find out what the Lion does with the current Unforgiven Dark Angels that are hunting down the Fallen. The Lion has redeemed Fallen in their heart if they're still loyal to the Emperor, and it was all just a misunderstanding. Again, read the book Sons of the Forest. Then they're considered risen. And yeah, so that is currently where we're at now with the lore, where I'm at with the lore. So let me know what you think. Comment below. Make sure you subscribe to Tabletop Chuck, and we can have more lore videos, battle reports, doing painting, stuff like that. So follow me for more content.